Good morning. It is April the 19th, 2018, and welcome to our trading room. We'll start with a disclaimer. Hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain limitations. Unlike an actual performance record, simulated results do not represent actual trading. Also, since the trades have not been executed, the results may have under overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. Simulated trading programs in general are also subject to the fact that they're designed with the benefit of hindsight. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profit or losses similar to those shown. Well, we have the Emini lower overnight, and we have treasuries lower overnight. Again, I believe it's pretty easy to make the call that treasuries are selling and will continue to sell until the Fed signals no more interest rate increases. But we don't have a lot of volatility. We don't have a lot of range. And to make money trading treasuries, you really have to put the trades on and disappear for a couple of hours. We have a little more flexibility, a little more wiggle room in the bond compared to the note, but we've had a couple of first hours where we haven't traded 8/30 seconds. So again, the market doesn't give you money. You earn it. You have to make it happen. The news overnight was limited. All the news out of the United States these days is almost always about Trump and his shortcomings and all the stuff that he's doing wrong and how he's unfit. And we don't get the economic news. We don't get the changes in rules and regulations. We don't get any commentary about some of the huge changes, positive for the United States, that have taken place overseas. So have to ferret it out. Raw news, raw data, make up your own mind. So Quarles speaks this morning, I believe at 9:15 Eastern, and he may be the source of volatility this morning if he says something off script. Right now everything is pointed down. We're looking at nothing but B's. This is a B right here, so I like the short side first. We have a 1 to 5, sell 1. 7 to 11, sell 2. On the buy side, 25, 29. 17 to 19, buy 2. Today's news, jobless claims 230. Very few people pay any attention to that. Philly Fed 20.1. Could come in lower than forecast if the Empire State Manufacturing Survey is our guide. LEI plus 0.3. Nobody pays attention to LEI. And nat gas, don't know what it is. Last week it drew 19B. Probably will draw more than that with the weather that we had crossing the United States last week. Focus, probably Philly Fed. Hope everybody's evening went well. I see that spring is very late coming to our northern tier states, and seems like Minnesota and Wisconsin and the upper peninsula of Michigan catch more than their fair share of the snow right now. I know they're ready for spring. I remember when I was in La Crosse, Wisconsin for 2 years, and loved every season. The winters, everything was good. The spring was just atrocious. It was 40 to 55 degrees, raining sideways. And then on June the 1st, all of a sudden it was puffy Q, 3,000 feet, bright blue skies. The summers were just marvelous. And the lakes were so shallow up there, you could actually go swimming in them. They heated up in a hurry, at least around La Crosse. Okay, 12 to 16, number 1. Sell 19 to 23. 27 to 31, sell 2. On the buy side, looks like 4 to 8's number 1. 29 to 01, buy 1. Allows them to get stops below the Globex session. 17 to 21 by 2. On a day like today where we don't have any news to get things rolling, we just have to pick our spots. We have to value area highs, lows, second standard deviations, high volume, low volume numbers depending on what market you're trading, and put the orders out there, try to fill at the edges and see what happens. Requires more patience. And we have to, it was like, I don't know, I think it was the day before yesterday, we had to really slow down on the Emini and got ourselves a fabulous trade. Good for close to 10 points, but we had to shift gears right there. We weren't taking our normal trades. Okay, gold is where we were yesterday, so 55, 57, sell 1, 59, 61, sell 2. 48 to 50 buy 1. I still think gold is trading up, and then 44, 46 buy 2. Numbers should sound very familiar. Now, back when I started trading with Peter Stedelmeyer, you really had to put in a lot of markets. You had to really approach the market as a swing trade. Didn't have a lot of volatility to work with, and it changes your perspective. And Pete used to talk in terms of learning how to manage a trade, and I went to maybe 3 of his trading schools, 2 for sure, and our lament, or our whine was, do we ever get a trade that we don't have to manage? Can we just put one on and be right? And again, the volatility was such that back in those days, didn't get a lot of those. Okay, we had 45 to 55 as a sell last night. 24.50 sell 1. 75 sell 2. On the buy side, the buck to 15 buy 1, and then 75 buy 2. And one of the things that we've done to make it easy for you, if you follow our rules and exit when the moving averages change color, you got a lot of staying power. And I believe that trade that I think we're in at 27.07 and a half. I think didn't get out of that trade till 16, give or take. I forget. So that was good for 9 points, and you were never challenged, never had to change your mind. And we like our rules will make you money over time. I have a 3-bar rule, and I do that to save emotional capital expenditure. Sometimes it costs money. When I've gone back and looked at it, if you stayed with the trade, you stopped out on 3, you made enough money on the 4th trade to cover all the losses. You caught that real big trade for 60, 70, 80 ticks, and you covered all your losses. So there's a lot of ways to skin this cat based on your personality and your individual needs. We're headed, listen, we have a trading target. It's 80 bucks. And Saudi Arabia gave us to us. They can't make the Aramco IPO go without $70 crude. So there's our trading target, and I don't see any reason for us not to get up there. Other than, I mean, it's just a trading target. It's been put out there, and that's what OPEC wants. So deal with it. We know where the market's going before the fact. Scott and I had a pretty lengthy discussion about crude oil yesterday, and how can you know? And again, my looking at the profiles, and we discussed those in length, was certainly part of it, but also the other part of it was that I'm pretty confident that the market's going to at least make 70 and probably higher. So the combination of the idea and the actual structure took us up. Okay, here's the Globex session. We spent a lot of time in this area right here. Then we extend up, come back down. We can't hold it, and now we're taking the market higher. So we've got really good support at 75 to 50, and probably at 69. So we're going to put a question mark at 69, and 69 and a quarter, and then 68, 68 and a quarter. I don't think we'll see that for buy 2. So this area right in here, we may have to get long at 69, 69 and a quarter. Phone just rang, and you don't like to get phone calls. Never good news when somebody's calling you this early. But it only rang once. Hey, they've got a new way of approaching you on these firms that dial for dollars for firemen, policemen, sheriffs, whatever they're raising money for. And it's happened to me twice in the last week. They call up and say, last night it happened to, is Perry there? And I said, you got the wrong number. And they says, well, perhaps you can help me. I said, oh. And he says, I'm raising money for this and that. And I said, hey, you tried that last week. This is a new way to get people to stay on the line or the rest of it. And he didn't say anything. And I said, well, it's not going to work this time on me either. And I told him goodbye and hung up. We give to a lot of different charities, but we like the ones where more money gets to the where it's needed. So a couple of the Wounded Warriors, Salvation Army, they don't overspend. They don't burn you up with overhead like the Red Cross and some of the others. Then we support a lot of publications that get the word out, the word that we like to get out, as opposed to politicians. I've given up on them. Okay, here we are. 27.19. Bonds and treasuries sold last night. Got our move out of the middle. So logic would tell us that we're going to at least get stops below 2,700. Has anything changed? No. What's taking the markets up right now? Earnings per share. I've seen some reports out there that think earnings per share this year, because of the change in the tax code, can be 30% higher than last year. That's the outlier. Most people are projecting 15%. So right now we're waiting for the consumer to spend, and they did spend in March, and with the tax cuts that they've come in with. So news today: 2:30 jobless claims. No one pays attention. Philly Fed, I think, is the news event of the day. LEI plus 0.3. And nat gas inventories, don't know, but I think they'll have a draw bigger than 19 BCF. So our first sells 9 to 14. As long as we stay above 2,700, I think we can go higher. And then 19 to 24 for sell 2. 96 to 01, buy 1. And I'll put a question mark here at 5. And then 86 to 91, buy 2. We've been faced with 8 points, then 12 points, then given some patience we can get, approach 20 plus or 20 or more. But it doesn't happen quickly. Okay, it will take a bit to get everything up and published. Going to get busy with that. Back with you as soon as possible.